If you are a data analyst and you don't know these Excel formulas, you are making your life harder. Let me show you why these are a game changer. Hello everyone, welcome to WsCube Tech channel. My name is Ayushi Jain. Guys, in this video, we are going to talk about top essential formulas for a data analyst that every data analyst must know. Now, before we get started with the video, if you are a data enthusiast and want constant updates on jobs, podcasts, masterclasses, then join WsCube's WhatsApp channel where you will get everything up to date. Now, let's get started with the video. The first formula which we are going to discuss over here is large and small. Let's have a look how we can utilize them. Guys, if you have set of data, for example, here we have total amount. This data set, the link to this data set has been given in our description. It has been uploaded to a GitHub link. You will be finding the link in the description and you can download this data set from there. We'll be practicing all these important essential formulas on this data set itself. Now here, if I want to get top second, top third or bottom second, bottom third value from our total amount, we can utilize one simple function which is known as equal to larger. So if I write large, not larger but large, and I choose any of my array, if I want the top maximum value, that means the maximum value over here, if I press enter, it would give me 2448.55 is the maximum value. But what if I want the second highest value? For the second highest value, I'll be using 2 over here and it will give me second highest value. Just like large gives us any nth number of value which is larger. Similarly, we will be using another function which is known as small function, for which you just need to again write equal to small, pass your array over here, define the element that you want to find. For example, I want to find bottom one. So if I'll press this, I'll be getting the bottom total payment amount that we have received is of 64.2. So this is how you can utilize large and small function to get any nth number of value. Bottom fifth value, I'll be putting small with 5. So this will give me bottom fifth value. So this is large and small. Now I am using Excel's 2021 version. There could be some formulas which I have and you might not have because of the difference of version. So you can just have a look at them and maybe then when you get an updated version, you can check them out and try it once again over there to practice. Now let's move forward and talk about our filter function. Filter function in Excel is really very helpful when you want to filter any specific data from a table based on a specific criteria. If you have ever learned Power BI and in that you have utilized DAX function, which is filter function, it creates a table for you based on a certain criteria. Same happens over here. A filter function here creates a table for you based on any specific criteria which you have defined. For example, let's say these are the date, customer name and these things given over here. Okay. Say I want to extract the dates and the customer name who have bought apples. The product is apples. Just the date and the customer name. So here I'll be writing equal to filter function. In the filter function, you can choose your date here and you can choose the first name. After this, put a comma where you can include a condition in here. You can, if you want, you can also choose the product name as well. So here, instead of this, I'll be putting the product name as well. And here we'll be having product name too. Control Shift down, we'll be selecting this. Put a comma over here. What do we want to include? That in our products column, comma, the value, not comma, but in the products column, the value should be equal to, in the double quotes, apples. So if I close this bracket too, if I press enter, I'll be getting the date, the name of those customers who have bought apples. Now you can see the date is coming in this format. This is because Excel remembers the previous data type which was entered over here. If you'll go in the general settings, convert it to a short date, it will now recognize it as a short date, that on these 3 dates, apples were bought by these 3 people. If you want, you can give the column names directly from here by copying this and pasting it here. Convert this thing to table and press enter. But there would be one problem, that it gives you a spell error over here because the formula is just in this cell. Not in the others, it's just in this cell, right? So for that, what you can do is you can just copy your values, right click and paste your values, and now you'll have a table over here. You can press Ctrl D once again, it will be converted to a table. Similarly, you can utilize filter function to filter anything. For example, this time you want to give category as snacks. You want all the data from the table, but you want just the category to be snacks in a new table. Okay, you can also utilize a new page for this. So here I'll be using again is equal to filter function. In the filter function, my array would be starting from here, control shift down, comma, my criteria over here would be that these values of product category should be equal to snacks. Close the bracket, press enter, and you will be getting all the filtered data where the product category is snacks. So this is how you can utilize filter table to get a filter data in a new table. Moving forward, up next we have lookup function. Let's see how we can utilize lookup function in Excel. Now imagine a case scenario where you have a values like this, that means which is for our total amount. So this is for our amount, and based on this amount we want to give discount to people, that if you have your amount between 0 to 500, you'll be getting a 5% of discount. If your amount is between 500 to 1000, you'll be getting a 10% of discount. If it is between 10 to 2000, you'll be getting a 12% of discount. And if it is above 2000, you'll be getting a 15% of discount. Now, I want this to be in front of each of the total amounts value. In order to achieve this, you would say that we can utilize if functions. But in if conditions, we'll be giving a lots of conditions over here, which might also include a lot of bugs in our data or bugs in our code. So here, instead what we can do, we can utilize lookup function. In the lookup function, you would say that this is my lookup value, because with the reference of this value, I'll be having a reference in this section of lookup vector. So now my lookup vector would be this, comma, my result vector would be this discounts value. Close the bracket, press enter, and here you are having the values. Two values are clearly mentioned over here, which actually are correct as well. When it is below 500, it's 5%. When it is below 1000, it's 10%. Okay, but which is correct too. But now what happened with these ones? You guys need to remember one thing, that in Excel, when you put a formula, it gets dynamic. Why? Because when I used for this one, my table range stayed these. Okay, but then when I went to this one, it decreased by one step, because with the corresponding value on my left, on the right as well, my steps are decreasing in the next cell. Okay, when I came to this one, my values changed over here, my table changed over here. Okay, suppose if I'm talking about this one, it would be a blank values from which I'm taking a reference and output. So because in Excel, the cell shift when you put any of the formula, we need to freeze this range. This range needs to be freezed, and this can be utilized. You would check you can utilize table instead. That would be one option, that if you don't want to utilize freezing of range, you can convert this data into a table and then it will not move further below than table. That is one option. Another option over here would be, if you go over here and let's say I'm writing it once again, what I'll do when I'll be choosing these values, the lookup vector, I'll be freezing my data by putting F4, or for some of the people it would be function F4. You can utilize this. You will now notice that every one of them has a dollar symbol in front of it, which is indicating that these has been frozen down. Comma, your result vector we'll repeat the same step for the result as well. We'll be putting function F4. In my case, we can also, if the function F4 does not works for you, you can also utilize just the F4. Press enter and you'll have all your values right here. You can choose your column, convert it to percentage, and here you'll have your output in terms of percentage. You can call it discount percentage, or you can just put it as discount here. So yeah, this would be your discount column, which tells you about that how much discount has been given. For this, instead of using ifs condition or if condition where you have to write things over and over for each of the condition, you can utilize lookup function. Hopefully this is clear that how we can utilize lookup. So guys, if you're enjoying this video and like learning with me, then you will definitely enjoy our cohorts as well. WsCube Tech recently launched their data analytics mentorship program, and if you want to be a part of their upcoming cohort, the link is given in our description. This cohort is led by me and our industry mentor Tushar Jha, where we'll be covering more than 6 industry projects, more than 10 business case studies we'll be sharing. So if you want to be a part of this cohort, the link to this is given in our description. Check it out now. Up next, we have vertical lookup. Now, vertical lookup can be utilized when you want to search for values from a data by any specific order ID or any primary key. So these are a couple of points about vertical lookup, that for vertical lookup, your data from which you are taking the reference from, like for example, if I want to search with the name Priya Sharma, I know that there could be a lot of customers with the name Priya Sharma, but their order ID would be different, or their customer ID might be different here. Okay, so we need to go for some kind of a column name which only contains primary key, that means unique data. For this, Now moving forward, here if based on any order ID, I want to fetch any details of the person, whether it is customer name, category, maybe quantity, total amount, payment mode, or even discount as well, we can fetch it really easily by using vertical lookup. How? Let's have a look on that. So suppose if let's say my order ID is ORD1016. ORD1016. Okay. Here, if I write equal to VLOOKUP, okay, in the lookup value, this is my lookup value, comma, this would be my table array, as my lookup value is starting from this column. If your lookup value starts from somewhere between the column, then your table should also start from there. Now, column index, which we are looking for over here, that based on order ID, let's say I want to fetch the name of the person. Okay, so for the name, it would be, if we start with this table, the column number 1 is order ID, 2 is date, 3rd is customer number. So I'll be writing 3. And lastly, do you want an approximate match or an exact match? We obviously want an exact match over here. Press enter and it would be the name of Ritu Patel. You can see order ID 1016, the name of the person is Ritu Patel. So this is how you can fetch your data. But now if you want to also fetch multiple columns, not just the name, but also let's say the total amount, which is your 8th column, and also the payment, which is your 9th column. In that case, what you can do, you can put this inside the braces, right? 3, 8, 9, close your braces, press enter, and you will be getting 3 different values. One is the name of the person, the total amount this person has paid, and lastly, we'll be getting that this person has paid using net banking. So you will be able to find that if I'll go over here, okay, for this person, 415 is the total amount and net banking is the payment mode from which that person has paid for this order. So this is how you can utilize vertical lookup to fetch different values. Now this is dynamic, guys. So if I change it to anything else, for example, instead of 1016, if I put 1012, this person is a different person with a different amount here with again net banking as a payment option. Okay, so it's dynamic. Every time you can change it. Here you can also utilize data validation to change this list. So you can go to the data tab. If you have a small list of data, you can utilize data validation, where you can convert this into a list, choose the order ID as a source, which will be order ID column as your source, which will be your columns value. If you click on OK, you'll be getting a drop down value here. So instead of now manually putting the data, you can just choose any of the order ID and it would change values based on that. So for example, it's 1024, then it's different person. Again, if I'm choosing a different value, 1031, it's different person. So you can create data validations list as well. So this is how you can utilize vertical lookup. It has a certain limitations which is then covered by index match and also XLOOKUP. But right now we are discussing about vertical lookup here. Moving forward, as I talk about that, there is a limitation in here. Limitation as in, for example, let's say based on anything, maybe based on unit price, I wanted to fetch any other thing, or based on total amount, I wanted to get the discount, which does not make sense. But if I wanted to, okay, for example, 707, if I'll copy this, paste it over here, and if I now try to utilize this to get my anything, let's say name of the person who paid 707 as amount. Okay, for this, if I'll try to utilize vertical lookup, it would not work because my lookup value would be this, but my table would be starting from here. As I said that from wherever your lookup value starts, your table starts from that specific column. So if my table starts from here, I can't go left side here, I can only go right side. Therefore, I cannot fetch the value based on my total amount, and I cannot fetch the value of customer name based on total amount. In order to achieve this, we can still utilize index match. So those who do not have XLOOKUP is anyways really very simple. So those who do not have XLOOKUP, they can utilize index match here. How? Let's have a look. In the first, I'll explain both of them separately. So index and match. Let's understand what index do and let's understand what match do. Index brings you value of any row number which you define. Okay, so if I write equal to index function, any column which I defined over here, let's say customer name. If I define, I want the customer name which is on 4th position, I'll be getting Priya Sharma here as it is on 4th position. Priya Sharma here, here. Let's see if I choose 5th position, are we getting Vikas Yadav or not? So if I press 5, we'll be getting Vikas Yadav here. So index is giving us value of any specified column, but we need to define the row manually. What if I do not want to define this row manually? I want match to find out the row over here. So for that, we'll be using match function. Match gives you a lookup value, asks for a lookup value. Where will you find it? You'll be finding this unit price in the not the unit price, but the total amount in the total amount column, comma. You will be needing an exact match in here. Okay, so we'll be giving false or 0 as an exact match. Okay, so I'm writing 0 here, close the bracket, press enter, and it will tell you that it is 5 number. So in 5 number, we have Vikas Yadav, but I had to write this manually over here in index. I want match to find out automatically based on this data. So now let's combine both of them together. Here I'll be saying equal to index, that what do I want? I want the name of the customer. But do I know the row number? No, I want match to find it out. So for that, I'll be using match function. And here in the match, it's asking for a lookup value. So this is my lookup value. Where is my lookup array? It would be our total amount here. Comma, do we want the exact match? Yes, we want the exact match. Close the bracket, close another bracket as well. Make sure you have closed all the brackets, press enter, and you will be getting name without even manually putting any value. And also if we change this to something else, maybe this time if I'll write any other amount, let's say to 342. It would be Amit Kumar, because 342 over here is the customer name who have paid 342 is Amit Kumar. Okay. So this is how you can utilize index match if your vertical lookup is not working. Why? Because your data from which you want to find the value lies on the right side and the value which you want to find lies on the left side. So vertical lookup works left to right, but if you want to come right to left, you can still utilize index match or XLOOKUP, but it is in the 2021 and the advanced version. So if you do not have XLOOKUP, index match is something that you can rely on. Now let's move forward and talk about another function in Excel which allows you to get the unique values from your data. And since we are talking about unique values from data, the function's name is also unique. So suppose I want to know how many total products are there, but I can see that the products are repeating over here, but I want to get a list where all my products are unique. In that case, I'll be utilizing a function called as unique, and I'll be choosing my product column here, close the bracket, press enter, and you will now notice that your values are not duplicated in here. Similarly, I want to do it for the payment mode, that how many payment modes do we have. So again, I'll be using unique function over here. Okay, I think I made a little mistake. Okay. So unique function here, and we'll be choosing payment mode, close the bracket, press enter, and you'll be getting that there are 5 payment modes that are mentioned: cash, debit card, UPI, credit card, and also net banking. So this is how you can utilize unique function. Really very helpful when it comes to creating pivot tables without using any pivot table. So if you want to get a summary of your data and you want to group your data together, in that case you can utilize this unique function without using pivot table. So if in any interview you are asked to create a summary of data without using pivot tables, this is the formula that you can go to. Simple it is. Let's pair it up with some of the logical aggregation functions. Let's first of all understand what are logical aggregation functions, and then we'll be pairing it up. So as of now, I'll just remove this one and delete this. We'll be utilizing it again in a couple of minutes, but let's first of all understand our aggregation functions here. So I'm talking about sum, which is just an aggregation function, but also SUMIF, and lastly SUMIFs. Okay, let's understand the differences between them first of all, then we'll be moving forward with this. So if I talk about sum function, sum is nothing but it gives you sum of everything that you want. For example, total amount, I'll be getting the sum of total amount. But what if I want to know that how much revenue have I generated from vegetables? Okay. In that case, I'll be utilizing SUMIF. That means I want to find the sum of something but based on a single condition. If you want to find the sum of something based on a single condition, you can utilize SUMIF for that. I'll be writing SUMIF in here. For SUMIF, my range would be category, where the criteria would be vegetables. Okay, comma. Up next, here we have sum range. So sum range is of total amount. And if I close the bracket, press enter, I'll be getting that from vegetables, we have generated a total revenue of 8,247. This is what SUMIF is. Okay. But now, if I want to know that in the vegetables, how many amount we have generated just from the cash. Okay. In that case, I'll be utilizing SUMIFs because now I want to give 2 or more conditions. So when you want to give 2 or more conditions to find your sum range, in that case, you can utilize SUMIFs. For some ifs, just follow the formula, guys. You don't have to do much, or you don't have to remember or learn more over here. Just remember the concept and you just need to follow the formula. Now this one is asking for sum range first. Of which column sum do you want? So I want the sum of payment mode, comma. What is your criteria? My criteria is that in the category, the criteria should be vegetables. Okay. Then second criteria is that the payment mode. Okay, I think I chose the wrong column when it was asking for the payments. So we want to find the sum of our total amount, comma. Our criteria range over here would be category, comma. The criteria over here would be vegetables. And lastly, second criteria here would be my payment mode, where I want my payment mode to be cash. Close this, close the bracket, press enter, and you'll get to know that from the cash, you have just received the amount of 270.25 from vegetables as a category. So this is how you can utilize sum, SUMIF, and SUMIFs. Similarly, there is also count, COUNTIF, and COUNTIFs, average, AVERAGEIF, and AVERAGEIFs. Now, how with the help of them we can create something like a pivot table? Let's have a look on that. So here I will be utilizing the unique function and a combination of any of the logical aggregation function. So here, if I say that I want to find the total revenue we have generated with each category, in that case, what we can write here is unique function, because I want to retrieve all the categories here. Close the bracket, press enter. These are all the categories that we have. Now I want to find the sum of revenue we have generated from each of these categories. So I'll be using SUMIF because I just want to give one condition. So here SUMIF, my range would be category itself, but my criteria would not be any value which I am writing, but the value which is corresponding to my cell. This one, comma, the sum should be of our total amount. So hover on top of it, you'll be choosing total amount. Press enter and you will be getting the value for here. Double tap in here and you will be getting for all of them. So this is how you can utilize unique function along with the combination of SUMIF function in order to get aggregated value based on anything. Example, I want to also find the average value here. So for finding an average value, I'll be using average if. Okay, average if. My range would be, again it's asking for a range. So let's give it a range. That the range is category, comma, the criteria is the corresponding value, comma, we want to find the average of our total amount. Close the bracket, press enter, you'll be getting that on a snacks, people are spending on an average 883. Similarly, we have values for others too. If you want to round off these values, you can also utilize these decimal places for 2 digits, or you can also use the round function to round it up to 2 decimal places. Similarly, you can also count that how many of the orders we have got for each of the category. For this, I'll be using COUNTIF as a function. So we'll be searching for COUNTIF and the range over here. Now understand, previous ones were asking for range, criteria, and sum range and average range. But this is about count. So therefore, it's just asking for your range. So range is just the category, comma, criteria would be this. And no other third column is required. Press enter, we have got 10 orders for snacks. And if I double tap, we have different amount of number of orders for different categories that we have here. So this one is your SUMIF, this one is your AVERAGEIF, and this one is your COUNTIF. Hope it is clear how we can utilize unique function along with logical aggregation function in order to achieve something which looks like a pivot table here. Now let's move forward and talk about another important function, which is switch function. How we can utilize it, let's have a look on that. Guys, if you have such a case scenario where now based on your textual data, you want to fill values. Now this is not something which lookup can handle since there is not a range here. But this time what do we have is the textual data for which we want to give them a numeric value on the right hand side. So here if I want to, allot numbers to payment mode, okay, allot number to payment mode. In this case, I'll again not write if condition over and over again. Instead, I can utilize switch function where you just need to give your expression over here. Okay, for example, we are talking about this value. Okay, this is my expression. If its value is cash, then give 1, comma, or if it is debit card, give the value as 2, If you have UPI, give the value as 3. If you have credit card, give the value as 4. And lastly, if you have net banking, then give the value as 5. Simple, without putting a lot of if function, and also just make sure that you are putting all your textual data inside double quotations. So I'll be putting it inside the double quotations here. Okay. Now, if I press enter, you will notice this have been assigned a couple of values that wherever it's cash, it's 1, debit card 2, UPI 3, credit card 4, and net banking has been assigned 5. So without writing if a condition over and over again, you can just give the expression for the first one, where you can define cash 1, debit card 2, UPI 3, credit card 4, and net banking as 5, and that's how you can just get your results without writing if conditions over and over again. So this is your switch function in Excel. Now let's move forward and talk about our another function. So next function and last function over here is IFERROR. IFERROR allows you to analyze that if you have an error value, you can give an alternate result for that. For example, let's say I want to check for anything. For example, in the customer name, I'm looking for all the Sharmas over here. Okay. And I want to check whether Sharmas exist in here or not. In order to check that, I'll be giving a condition over here that is equal to, first of all, I'll search for the value that does Sharma exist here or not. So what do we need to find? We need to find Sharma, comma, within this name. Close the bracket, press enter. So wherever Sharma exists, it's giving me the value of 7. Where it does not exist, it's writing me value error over here. So if I don't want to get a value error in here, in that case, what I can use is IFERROR. IFERROR will search for any of the error. If this formula is giving is any error to us, in that case, no Sharma. I'll be writing that. And close the double quotes, press enter, and wherever you might be getting an error, you can give an alternate result for this. So here, since any other example wasn't there, so I have utilized this one. But in any of your data, by giving a formula, if you're getting sort of an error, could be a zero division error as well. If you're getting any kind of an error, and if you want to give an alternate result for that, you can utilize IFERROR. So as I was giving the example of zero division error, suppose if you have a couple of values over here, and if I have, let's say, 0, 5, 3, and 0 again mentioned here. If I say equal to this value divided by this value, press enter, and it's giving you zero division error in here. For example, if here you don't want your value to be displayed as error, in that case you can write if error, open the bracket. If this value gives you an error, just write 0 in there, press enter, and now you will be getting 0 instead of division 0 error. Okay. So this is how you can utilize IFERROR to handle any kind of a situation where you might be getting any kinds of errors in your data, and if you want to give an alternate result to those errors, IFERRORs can be utilized. Now hope you enjoyed this video. Try and practice all these functions and formulas. Let me know if there are any other functions that you regularly use in your day-to-day life in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video, guys.